Welcome to Wesley Impact. I'm Keith Garner, and today we'll be looking at technology and how it can help us. When you or someone needs to research something, how often do you turn to the internet as your first port of call? Thank you for joining us today. In a large organisation like Wesley Mission, to keep working efficiently and effectively, we have to consider a vast array of tools that we need to use to achieve what we want to do. With centres and offices positioned across our state and offices and contacts across the country, we need to ensure that we're connected to each other and look at how we can use various technologies to allow our staff, for example, in Coffs Harbour, connect with our staff on the central coast of New South Wales. Computers and the internet play a key part in this. And at Wesley Mission, we have over 2,000 screens in our network, connected together so that they allow us to provide a high standard of care wherever we work. We're also on the internet with our website, our Facebook, our Twitter, our social media in general. And indeed, invite people from around the world to connect with us online, and they do. The use of technology in all this is an important part of our work. Later in the show, I'm going to be speaking from a psalm, on this occasion, Psalm 25, and particularly on the theme of God's guidance in our lives. We need to be sure of God's guidance in so many different ways. Living on the midst and on the edge of change, we have at Wesley Mission come to terms with how important it is to be aware that the Lord is out there ahead of us and making his way clear. What is true for us, I'm sure, is equally true for many more, not only as communities, but also as individuals. These are challenging times for everyone, and we need to be sure of God's guidance. Now, the purpose of technology is largely to streamline so much of our work and make us efficient in all that we do and keep us connected. Whether our programs require us to use computers or a good old-fashioned cup of tea to connect with people, it all matters, and we'll do everything we can to be accessible and relevant to the people we come into contact with. Through Wesley Packaging, we've constantly had to upgrade our tools and our packaging equipment to allow us to keep people employed. Here's a look at two people, Ian and Paul, sharing their experiences of working at Wesley Packaging.
My name is Paul Barnes. I've been here 30 years. When I came here with my parents, we met Jack Wilkins, who was a very lovely man. He shook our hands, including mine and my mother and father's. He introduced himself, and that's when the ball started to roll. And he took all three of us into his office. He had a clipboard in how much strife I was in, and he said to me, "We are about to change that. We're about to swing that around."
My name is Ian Nichols. I've worked here for 40 years this year. I'm an assistant supervisor in the factory, and what we do is help the new people when they come in, be a spokesperson for them.
I rang up at least 4 times and asked when I was about to start, and they said on Monday the 29th of March 1984. And when I slammed down the phone, I said to Mum and Dad, "It's all systems go," and they were absolutely thrilled. They were as proud as punch, and I had been here all this time.
David Morgan Centre is important because people like us can go and do a day's work and feel accepted doing something in the community.
I felt like if I was part of a career and also part of the furniture here at David Morgan, and felt very lucky to have a mental disability, and felt lucky that I'm still here and I will be here for quite some time to come.
They come to me because I used to be an employee rep. I used to be on the safety committee, and they come to me with any problems, even Paul Barnes. Paul Barnes, me, don't see eye to eye. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. And sometimes I'm right, and sometimes I'm wrong. But he's alright. He's not the worst one here. No, he's alright.
When my name was mentioned, I went up to the Premier of New South Wales. He handed me my 30 years long service leave certificate, and I was overjoyed. I was like your fireworks, it just exploded in the air, and it was the proudest moment of my life. And I went, yahoo! My speech was about the 30 years being in this place, and the friends that I've got here.
Paul's good qualities are that he's, I don't know, he's always here, and he always tries to do the work. He tries to do the work, and he gets on with most people.
To tell you honest truth, it's going to be extremely difficult and very hard to move away from here. I've just got so many friends here that it's going to be very hard for me to say goodbye in the next 25 or maybe more years.
If you would like to see more of the work of Wesley Mission, visit wesleymission.org.au. You can watch loads more videos, catch up on past episodes of Wesley Impact TV, find out about our diverse range of services, and get involved to help make a positive difference in your community. You can also connect with us on social media and stay up to date on the latest news and information from Wesley Mission. wesleymission.org.au.
How often do you use the internet to find a piece of information you're after? Whether you're looking up the weather forecast, directions on how you travel, shopping online, or double-checking the fact that you're not quite sure about. When you or a friend is looking for a church, how often do you turn to the internet as your first option? Joining me today is Paul Hutchinson, who is using the internet to make it easier for people to find a local church. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you, Dr. Keith.
Now, your website is called churchfinder.com.au. Tell us a bit about Churchfinder.
Churchfinder is a website designed to help people find their local church. It's right across the country. We have churches of every denomination listed there, service times, locations, etc.
So what sort of number of churches are you talking that you've got on your website?
We've got over 9,500 churches listed now.
Right, you're up to that golden 10,000, as it were, very soon. How do people do this? But before perhaps we get into that, why did you set it up? How did it all come about?
I really needed to connect with churches around the country for my work, and I couldn't find anything that gave me all the churches and all the denominations, so I decided, why don't we put a list together? So once I did, I thought, well, that would really become an excellent tool for other people as well, so that's how it came about.
And you and your wife are very committed to making this work, aren't you?
Yeah, we've been working on it for about 2 years together now, so it's doing really well.
And how do you go about getting those names? Do people refer them? Do you approach them, or what?
There's a mixture of all of those. We have some people who write to us, phone us, email us, and then we are also looking out for them.
So when people can go on this website, which I'm sure they can find through our website all the details about, when they go on, it will tell them what sort of information can they expect to find. You're moved to somewhere new and different. What can they expect to find?
They'll find the location of the church, the denomination, the pastor's name or minister's name. They'll get the phone number, the email address, the website and service times, and a short description.
So for many churches, this is almost like creating, for many of them, a little website all of their own. That's
right. It's an individual web page that they can keep updated. And yeah.
And do you have a discriminatory policy about some denominations over others, or are you, provided that they're a Christian denomination, you're quite happy?
Anybody who believes in the Bible, and we'll put them up there.
Yeah, fine. Look, I think that's better. You don't want to go through a whole host of do you believe this, do you believe that, because we're so different as a Christian community.
That's exactly right.
And how important is the objectivity of the site for you?
Yeah, we like to keep it out there so that, you know, it's for the whole body of Christ. It's not about us, it's about the church.
So if I'm living in Lismore, the Adelaide Hills, or somewhere like that, and I want to get my church on onto this website, what do I do, Paul?
Simply send an email to info@churchfinder.com.au and we'll list the church straight away.
What was it again?
info@churchfinder.com.au.
Great. So they can say, well, our church isn't on there. Do you manage any other Christian resource sites besides this?
We do at the moment. We have College Finder, which is a list of all the Christian colleges around the country, and then we've got more in the pipeline.
Oh, so it's really something that's going to expand in due course?
Yes, we've got Schools Finder and Ministry Finder both coming online this year.
So do you get feedback from people who have moved who actually say, thank you, Paul, for this, because we actually found a church?
Yeah, that's our greatest joy. We've had a couple of phone calls where people have said, I moved to a country town, didn't know where to go to church, and it's such an important decision. They've gone online, typed in the address, found some church, went and visited, and then rang up and said, I'm so glad I found my church, thank you.
And you can be sure they're up to date. Not long ago, I remember going to a community, my wife and I were in the car, and we drove around looking at a church, and one church we thought that existed in this area had shut down 5 years earlier, you know, and you try to keep it bang up to date.
That's right. We're working on it full time, getting the information up to date. We're travelling around the country, updating information where we can, and we really rely on other people giving us up-to-date information as well.
Look, it's important really that we keep on the cutting edge of all this kind of technology for the church, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. The church has really got to take hold of the technology era, or else we're left behind.
Absolutely. Paul, thanks for joining us today. It's always encouraging to see how technology can improve and help connect the Christian community in so many ways. So I hope people that are listening into our conversation might say, gosh, we'll get our church on there and we'll check out the details about our church or other churches. Joining us to sing today is a regular performer on Wesley Impact, Matt Doland. So here's Matt, and he's going to sing Jesus is Alive.
Jesus is alive, he's alive, I know it's true. He lives inside of me, I hope he lives inside of you. He's walking with me every day, I know he'll see me through. Jesus is alive, I know it's true. You don't have to worry, you don't have to fear. Just take him by the hand, he will draw you near. Give him all your troubles and give him all your cares. 'Cause Jesus is alive, I know it's true. Let me tell you that Jesus is alive. He's alive, I know it's true. He lives inside of me, I hope he lives inside of you. He's walking with me every day, I know he'll see me through. Jesus is alive, I know it's true. You don't have to worry, and you don't have to fear. Just call upon his name, let him draw you near. He'll never let you down, he'll never let you go. Jesus is alive, I know it's true. Let me tell you that Jesus is alive. He's alive, I know it's true. He lives inside of me, I hope he lives inside of you. And he's walking with me every day, I know he'll see me through. Jesus is alive, I know it's true. Let me tell you that Jesus is alive. He's alive, I know it's true. And he lives inside of me, I hope he lives inside of you. And he's walking with me every day, I know he'll see me through. Jesus is alive, yeah, Jesus is alive, yeah, Jesus is alive, I know it's true.
It's been 200 years since the first Methodists met in Australia. To celebrate 2 centuries of faith and pioneering care, CEO and presenter Reverend Dr. Keith Garner takes us back to where it all began.
But we don't begin here at the heart of London. We begin in a town in the north of England.
In this fascinating narrative, Reverend Garner chronicles the history of the life and times of the founder of Methodism, John Wesley. This fresh and thought-provoking documentary takes us on a journey throughout the United Kingdom, beginning in John Wesley's hometown of Epworth.
John Wesley was born here on the 17th of June, 1703.
This one-hour DVD travels onto his education years and beginnings of social justice in Oxford, to his final years in London. For more information on John Wesley, the man and his mission, call 02 9263 5555 or email us at impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
Now, in this series on the Psalms, Psalm 25 is not one of the Psalms that's spoken about very often, but it could be considered essential in terms of devotional reading, because that's certainly one of the purposes of the Psalm. It helps us to make our vital contact with God. So I want to read you some of the verses to you and then reflect upon various thoughts that we find in the Psalm. So I'm going to read the first 7 verses of the Psalm, and then I'm actually going to read the final 3 of the Psalm. So this is Psalm 25, verses 1 through to 7, and then 20 to 23. In you, Lord my God, I put my trust. I trust in you. Do not let me be put to shame, nor let my enemies triumph over me. No one who hopes in you will ever be put to shame, but shame will come on those who are treacherous without cause. Show me your ways, Lord. Teach me your paths. Guide me in your truth and teach me, for you are God my Saviour, and my hope is in you all day long. Remember, Lord, in your great mercy and love, for they are from old. Do not remember the sins of my youth and my rebellious ways. According to your love, remember me, for you, Lord, are good. Then verse 20, guard my life and rescue me. Do not let me be put to shame, for I take refuge in you. May integrity and uprightness protect me, because my hope, Lord, is in you. Deliver Israel, O God, from all their troubles. The psalm, this is one of the psalms certainly that has a beautiful sense of lyrical echo. And many of them were written in that way so that people could learn them and they could enjoy them. And it's certainly written by a person who's earnestly seeking for God's presence and guidance. And that, incidentally, is a recurring theme throughout the Psalms, reaching out, searching for something real. So just one or two of the things that appear in this psalm that pervade the Psalms, but are particularly drawn to in this psalm, that have something to say to us in our own lives. First of all, I want you to note that the first verse reinforces the fact that the approach is devotional. That if we're going to find God, to live in God, to be sustained in our faith, there needs to be a devotional aspect. In you, Lord my God, I put my trust. I don't put my trust in my own intelligence alone. I don't put my trust in my own ability. I don't put my trust in those things that I find in other places. My trust is in God. So the approach is devotional. And that trust and that commitment is something that must be there in all our lives. I think this psalmist draws us to the fact that the Psalms have been a sustaining part of people's devotional life down all the years. Many people, when they choose to have a pattern of devotional life, choose to have the Psalms as something that they read every day. And I certainly think that if you choose to do that, there's so many Psalms, you're not going to read them not much more than twice a year if you chose to read one every day. Secondly, it's written by one whose focus is upon God. I need to reread verse 15 to really make this point and get it across. It tells us in verse 15, my eyes are ever on the Lord, for only he will release my feet from the snare. My eyes are always on the Lord. My focus, the thing that matters most to me, that I give my attention to, the thing that is the real heart of my life, is a focus on God. We're very conscious through the Psalms of knowing that God's eyes go across the whole earth and the whole world. But here, our eyes are upon God. And I think that if we're going to, in any way, live close to God or do the things that we believe are right, then we need to have a focus upon him. And I think that's important in a personal sense. At Wesley Mission, we think it's important for us in a corporate sense. But it's an important aspect of life that we recognise that God is one whom we devotionally focus on, but we want to also recognise that the devotional focus is upon God, not upon a way of doing it, but upon God. Just as like our interview today, it's not what particular brand we belong to, it's not what particular team we belong to. We are simply those people whose focus is upon God. But then thirdly, there is a real desire for guidance. Now, nobody would deny, if you said to people, what are the things that we most need to know as Christian people in this world, then one of them would have to be the guidance of God. We are so uncertain in ourselves. And we read verse 5 in this particular psalm, which says, "Guide me in your truth and teach me, for you are God my Saviour, and my hope is in you all day long." Not just in the morning, not just in the evening, not just in one day, all day long, for all of time. A real desire to be guided by God. Of course, lots of people's Christianity or religious perspective is all about the things that they believe, the things that they do. But really, underpinning it all is a real sense of a God who guides us, who's out there ahead of us. The friend I talked to a few moments ago was telling us about this whole area of work he's involved in helping to connect people across Australia with churches. And that came out of a seeking God about what he should do for his future. And that's what emerged. And as we seek God in our lives and in the life of the community, so new doors open, new opportunities emerge for us. And there is a real desire for genuine guidance. And then verse 21, as we draw to the close of the psalm, we read these words, "May integrity and uprightness protect me, because my hope is in you." The psalmist's confidence is in God. I mean, I think if I were to ask you the question, where is your confidence? I don't know what answer you would give. But I think the answer that satisfies me, and the one that I find most profoundly in this psalm, is that our confidence is in God. And we need to know that, don't we? We need to feel that somehow our life is not only guided by God, but we can place our confidence in him about that guidance. It's not just that it's there and you can take it or leave it, but it's there and it will satisfy the deepest places of our lives. Now, we can have confidence in ourselves, and there is a sense in which that is important. We try to do that with young people in our services. Tell them they can have confidence in themselves. But really, ultimately, confidence needs to be in God. That's the great secret. That's the great door that opens for us when we start to put our trust in him. So here's a psalm, very different than some of the other psalms, not one that you'd read every day, but Psalm 25. Have a look at it, and you'll find in it so much that we need to know in our daily practical Christian experience as we seek to walk with him, as we seek to live in Christ, as we seek to be a people ready to serve him. We need to know where our confidence can be. Now, that confidence is unshakable. That confidence is what is there to be sustaining our lives, even when things go wrong. And if you take hold of this psalm and you study it very closely, you'll find that the language is deeply personal. That's demonstrated by the large number of personal pronouns. I, me, my, occurring almost 30 times. The personal is emphasized through a picture of humility and a sense of the aloneness. The psalmist encourages me and encourages you, and those who read it, those who sing it, to seek God's purposes every day and to know our confidence can truly be in God.
If you would like to contact Keith and find out more about today's program, write to us at Wesley Mission, Post Office Box A5555, Sydney South 1235. Or you can send an email to impacttv@wesleymission.org.au. On our website, you can catch up on past episodes of Wesley Impact, find out more about our work, read online magazines and articles, and connect with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. You can also connect to Keith's blog and stay up to date on all of the latest news and information from Wesley Mission. wesleymission.org.au.
I always want to thank you for joining us on the show. Please don't hesitate to write or be in touch if you have any questions or comments on today's programme. Our email address, once again, is at impacttv@wesleymission.org.au, or that big generic one, wesleymission.org.au. Do keep with us week by week. Please join us next week, where we'll have new guests and new songs and another episode of Impact. Thank you, and God bless you.
Wesley Mission helps more than 500 people each year through our Wesley Disability Services. To find out more, visit wesleymission.org.au.